right, hey folks. We're gonna do some game design and character creation today. What's going on? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And we're playing with Strixhaven. We're on my Discord server today, playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition. We're going to be conducting matches of Magetower using the 5e 2024 game engine, using combat as basically making Magetower the sport into a D&D 5e combat action economy sub-game, like mini-game inside of the Strixhaven campaign setting. I'm a huge Magic the Gathering enthusiast. I've created a lot of content on the DMsGuild for Dungeons & Dragons 5e involving Magic the Gathering. Here is a collection of all the books so far that I've created for D&D MTG. It's called Color Mana Spell Points. There's a bunch of books that we have for it. The core mechanics, so it explains like all the mechanics of MTG framed in the 5e game engine. This book here is specifically for Arcane Tricksters and Eldritch Knights. The Knights and Tricksters book, basically taking the third caster character classes and then converting them into the color magic paradigm instead of Ancient spell slots and the 8 schools of magic that's normal for D&D. We replace that with the 5 color magic system from Magic the Gathering and create spell points that are color mana. So if you have 3 points in your mana pool, one could be black, one could be green, one could be blue. A first level spell costs 1 mana, a 5th level spell costs 5 mana, etc., etc. Some classes get mana back on a full rest, some classes get mana back on a short rest, so we have a balance for multi-classing between all the different mana pools and recovering mana systems that are in the game. There's a couple other just auxiliary things, like a very simplified spell point system that can replace what was in the Dungeon Master's Guide in 2014. It's a really good system. I've used color magic in 3 full campaigns now from level 1 to 20 since 2017 when we started creating this series of projects. We were looking at the elemental key, using color mana of red, green, and blue to represent the elements, or instead of using color mana, you could use the 4 elemental magic system, where all spells and magical effects are translated into either individually or as a group, air, earth, fire, and water magic. So when you take on it, when you have a spell point in your spell pool or a key as a monk or whatever, you assign, like if you're an airbender, you'd have all air mana. If you're using color magic like we are for Magetower, if you were in Strixhaven, which we are, and you wanted to be Witherbloom, then all of your mana would be black and or green. So when you have, like, say 3 points in your mana pool, you could have like 2 of them devoted to green and 1 of them devoted to black. And if I want to cast a first level black spell, I use my 1 point of black mana and cast that spell. Now I'm out of black mana, so I need to get more black mana into my mana pool, which I can do anytime I regain mana, either through rests or whatever, or like drinking potions and stuff like that. Whenever you regain mana, you can decide what color mana that is. So if I were to drink a mana potion, or if an artificer were to juice me with its mana restoration item, and I got, say, 3 points of mana back. Now I've got the 2 green mana I had already, but since I just gained more mana, I could, like, say 1 point's going to go to green and then 2 points go to black. So now in my mana pool, after healing my mana, I have 2 black and 3 green. If I were to take a short rest, even if I didn't get any mana back, but if I still had 5, I could then change all 5 of them. So, like, 3 green and 2 black for Witherbloom. Or like if I was Lorehold, which is white and red, I could have like 1 point in white and 4 points in red. And after finishing a short rest, I still have that mana, but now I can change what colors they are. So like make it like 4 white and 1 red instead. So we're going to be using the rules of Magic the Gathering in the 5e game engine. These all have free previews, by the way. So we're going to be looking mainly today at the color mana spell list, because we have created yesterday on stream, we started peeling through the Mystic subclasses. That's the new Unearthed Arcana in D&D this week. And we translated the Warrior of the Mystic Arts into the color mana variant. So I'm going to go like this and go Mystic Arts. And that'll take me to the Mystic Arts subclass. So this is what we translated the monk into from the Unearthed Arcana playtest content yesterday. It's basically a third caster. It's a third caster monk version. Okay, so that's a really logical space for them to fill. I'm glad that they did. And so normally martial characters like a monk, a fighter, a rogue, barbarian, don't have to really worry about what color is in their mana pool, because all the martial power stuff that we do is just universal spell points. You can use a spell point on anything that you want, and it's just descriptive magic. So if you're using a descriptive light magic system, when I spend a point of mana, if I'm, in this case, Prismari, if I were to use like say, if I were to use a teleportation maneuver off of the martial powers list, and it cost me 3 mana to do it, I could, when I spend my 3 points of focus or mana, it's just generic mana. So I could say that it's expressed as blue, or in the case of Prismari, blue or red. So I could describe it with blue magic effect, or I could describe it with a red magic effect, or a blend of red and blue if I wanted. And that would be appropriate because Prismari is devoted to blue and red magic. But martial powers don't require you to specifically choose a color of mana. Now, what's interesting though is that casters do. I mean, you could just have a light narrative system that when I spend a spell point, I could say that that's a black spell or a white spell or a green, whatever I want. That's a narrative magic system. It's soft, where each point of mana works like it normally does in spell points, and you just describe what color you're using when you cast the spell as just a narrative gimmick, right? Like as a Prismari character, if I'm going to teleport, you would see myself in a blue haze dissolve, and then at the location that I arrive, maybe there's a flare of red light, and I pixelate into that space instead. So like this character could do things with like blue and red locations, like in the Portals video game, you have 2 color portals. In Speedy Thing comes in, Speedy Thing comes out. So we could do things like the Forsaken, the Mystic Arts could take Dimension Door, for instance. So when the door opens, it's blue, and when it arrives, it's red. If I deal extra damage using mana, I could depict that. I could decide that combat is red for this character and utility is blue for this character. So I can define what these colors mean as a narrative device for me to describe how my character is interacting with the world, which is super fun. So again, all these books are free preview on the DMsGuild, and we're updating them starting in March. We're going to start updating these books and republish them using the 5e24 rules, because they're so much better. But for anyone that's interested in tagging along in the journey, the Martial Powers and Color Mana playtest document that we're going to be using here in Google, it's a read-only document, but you can look at what it is that we're working on. This isn't its final form. It's going to go through an editing pass and blah, blah, blah. But I've got a bunch of books that are on the DMsGuild that all have free previews. They're chock full of my art and my ideas. So if you think that stuff is cool and you're a D&D enthusiast and you want to support more effort like this, then buy some books. Join my Discord. Follow me on Patreon. Like and subscribe and stick around, because I do artwork Monday through Friday in the morning. And then on Mondays and Thursday nights and Saturday morning like this, we do game design. So, and occasionally I'll jump on a lunchtime here and there just to talk about stuff. Like yesterday was Friday, and we rebuilt the Warrior of the Mystic Arts into the color mana system, because I'm going to make an athlete to play in Strixhaven today. We're playing Magetower on my Discord server, which is linked down below. And anyone's welcome. We're playing with 7th level characters. You can use 7th level characters out of the book, like straight out of the player's handbook. Any WotC content, 2014 or 2024 is fine. We assume 2024 rules. So if you pick Conjure Animals it'll be the 2024 version, not the 2014 version. Like, that's a big difference, so you got to pay attention to that. So the game defaults to 2024, and right out of the book, Mage Tower works just fine as a sport. We've had characters using both my mana system and WotC RAW, rules as written, interacting with each other, and they're both just as effective. They all can use their abilities to help score points or kill each other during the Blood Bowl match, which is the Mage Tower game that we're playing. I'm gonna give you guys a quick crash course on how the game runs, and then we're going to build a 7th level monk warrior of the Mystic Arts in the Prismari school. And if we have time, I'll also update my 7th level, my Prismari Barbarian, and make it 7th level. And then my Quandrix Echo Knight will upgrade him to 7th level. And you can see the process that goes along in adding and making selections about martial powers and color mana selection. So hopefully it's fun. So Mage Tower, this is a modified version from what's listed in the actual Strixhaven rules, the Magic the Gathering setting and the Curriculum of Chaos adventure. It assumes that you have teams of 5 each. That's 10 characters on the board. That's too many people. Combat takes too long with 5 people versus 5 basically equal characters all using character action economy. I mean, you can if you want, but I like to have matches last 1 hour. So like a timed match, it's 1 hour long, and at the end of the game you get a long rest. At halftime, at the 30-minute mark, we gain at the 30-minute mark, you take a short rest. So short rest casters can get all their mana back at halftime, while the full casting long rest mana supply, that has to last you the entire game. So there's a little bit of a difference in balancing between full casters, half casters, and martial characters. But that's a lot of fun. So in the original Mage Tower, there's 2 balls. Each team has a ball on their tower, and the enemy team has to go grab the ball and bring it back to their tower, while at the same time the enemy team over here is trying to grab this ball and bring it back to their tower. So when you have 5 people on the board, that makes sense, because you can decide a strategy between how many people do we want defending our ball from the enemy and how many people do we want to go steal the ball and bring it back. So there's a lot of roles that can be played in a group of 5, but it takes a long time to play that way. So instead we made rugby. Forgive the breach in lore. We'll provide rules for both when we publish this, but the quicker, easier way to make it 1 hour matches is minimum 2v2. And so if you have 2 players, the DM can run 2 characters as a team. If you have 3 players, the DM can be one of the players, because rules are rules in sport. If there's a conflict on how rules are used, in that circumstance, it would basically be the DM as a player discussing with the rest of the team that's playing, like, how should we resolve this rule, and then make a note of it, because this is playtesting. Hopefully by the end of playtesting, we won't have any questions anymore. We'll just know the proper answer to everything, which is the purpose of playtesting. So if you have 3 players, the DM can also play as an NPC athlete and have an equal level character. Right now we're playing 7th level characters. Each week we're gonna scale it up, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and eventually we'll get to 20th level characters. This is an alternate means of PvP sport inside the D&D game engine. How many times have you heard somebody say, hey, I want to run a 20th level arena PvP championship, and we'll see who wins the most? Well, with a sport, you can try to kill each other, because it's all temporary hit points, and every time somebody scores a point and you reset back to your towers, everyone gets all their temporary hit points back, but they're still missing their mana, their hit dice, their daily resources, and blah blah blah. It's just the temporary hit points wash away whenever somebody scores a point, as does exhaustion and paralysis and stuff like that. Effects end, like concentration effects end with each point. So persistent effects that don't require concentration they'll last, if it's an hour or longer duration, it'll last the entire hour, and it'll constantly affect your characters because of timing, right? So with one ball, it starts in the middle, and in Strixhaven, the ball is a mascot inside of an Odalix Resilient Sphere. So it's like the size of a volleyball with a mascot familiar creature scuttling around inside of it. And when you're playing with 2 balls 5v5, those mascots are your allies. So they want to run away from and try to evade and contest against your opponent team from grabbing them. So they're actively trying to run away from enemies if they're out loose on the field, or try to escape your grasp if you're holding them. But in one ball, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 matches, smaller team matches with only one ball, the ball starts at the center and always goes first in initiative. If it's not held, it'll choose a random direction to run, and it'll start running in that direction. So when the game starts, everyone waits a round of initiative so that everyone has reactions available immediately, regardless of what your order is in initiative. You'll have your reaction available right away. And the ball goes first, so like it'll scuttle off in like this direction, say 20 feet. So now when I get to go, say it's my turn now, I can go. Now I have to go chase down. If I'm chasing the ball, I now have to go chase down the ball over here. And if no one picks it up at the end of the round and the round rolls over, the ball could choose, say, another random direction to run. And it's a D8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It'll just run off in a random direction like that. And so you got to pick up the ball, and then you have to hit the tower's top with the ball. The ball is a weapon, it's an ally, and it's an enemy, depending on what your character feature or action is. If you want to, say the ball is not free and it rolls past me, well, I can treat it as an enemy and use an opportunity attack to pick up the ball. That's a grappling effort, and the ball always fails saving throws. It never attacks, and it always fails saving throws. So if you try to grapple the ball when it's loose on the ground, you'll automatically succeed at grappling it, and now you hold the ball. If you're like paralyzed or stunned and you drop items, it's an item, so you drop the ball, and if no one picks it up by the end of the round, it now runs off in a random direction because it's the ball's turn again. So when you hit the goalpost has an armor class of 10. The weapon is considered a light thrown weapon with a range of 40 feet. Its short range is 20 feet, its long range is 40 feet, so you can only throw the ball 40 feet away. Inside this line is long range. You're at disadvantage to hit the goal, and within this line you're within normal range and you have no disadvantage to hit the goal. When you hit the goal post with armor class 10, you have to deal damage to it. The ball itself deals 1 point of damage, but it's a light finesse thrown weapon that can use either dexterity or strength as your attacking stats. And we have the catapult spell translated into a spell attack roll. So a wizard with catapult could use that cantrip to make a ranged weapon attack by telekinetically grabbing and flinging the ball, using intelligence as my attack roll instead. But the armor class is only 10, but then I deal damage. So like with catapult or a thrown weapon as a rogue or a strength throw from a barbarian, if all of them have a stat of 20, then it would be 1 point of damage from the ball plus 5 from their strength, intelligence, wisdom, whatever bonus. Whatever your bonus is. In this case, a strength of 20 is a plus 5 bonus. So if I hit the goalpost and deal damage to it, I score a point, and then we all reset and we try to do it again. So I could kill everyone on my enemy team, casually pick up the ball and hit the goalpost, and I win. I score a point. And all the temporary hit points go away, everyone's back up again, everyone resets at their tower, and then let's go. Or if I don't think killing everyone is going to be an efficient way, I can just focus on grabbing the ball, closing distance, and scoring a point either as a thrown weapon attack or as a melee weapon attack if I can get adjacent to, like within melee reach of the goalpost. Like bugbears have a 10-foot reach, for instance. They have to be within 10 feet of the goalpost to score a melee attack against it. If it's a thrown attack, that's my timer to make sure I stay on track. I've got about a 2-hour block of time, and maybe like an hour and a half. Yeah, I got about an hour and a half left this morning, so I can build a character and finish this conversation by then. So thanks to anyone that's checking out the conversation. I appreciate people being interested in this stuff. It's a ton of fun designing. I love Magic the Gathering. I love Theros and Ravnica and Strixhaven, and we built all these character options so that all character classes and all subclasses have mana. So instead of going to Strixhaven to learn how to spellcast and how to fight spellcasters, it becomes everyone there has a mana pool. And so you go to Strixhaven to learn how to control and harness mana. And whether you channel it into spells, into martial powers, racial features, or all of those things, your mana pool is part of your soul and your identity. So Strixhaven teaches you to align with the colors that you're devoted to and help make sure that all your power spells and abilities are working with the mana pool that you're naturally developing. So that's what Strixhaven becomes. And that sounds like a much more compelling reason to go to Strixhaven. Like the Prismari Barbarian is a Berserker Barbarian. If I was playing a Gruul character and for some reason I wanted to go to school to learn how to develop, maybe Gruul isn't the best example there, but like Jund, maybe. Like Jund is, I think, of white, red, and green, I think. So if I was a Jund channeler using those three colors as my identity, I may go to Strixhaven for me to learn to, like, narratively, we could say, like, maybe I don't have a lot of white mana in my personality and my character, but I need more white mana in my pool for, narrative reasons. So you go to Strixhaven and you focus specifically on developing white mana. So you join either Lorehold or Silverquill. Lorehold is white and red, which is very Jund. I'd probably go there. Or white and black is Silverquill. So black isn't normally in my Jund color identity, so maybe I join Silverquill so I can better understand black mana and black energy. So philosophically and strategically, I'm more well-rounded. Or I could go with Lorehold and dive deeper into the Jund philosophy through Lorehold. So those are narrative reasons to build your character in certain ways. You could go in not knowing what your color identity at all is, and you could do a Harry Potter sorting hat sort of thing, saying which color is your character most devoted to. What is my primary identity? And then you decide, like, say your primary identity is red, passion, energy, no think, all act, instinct. Maybe that's your primary identity, or what you're primarily devoted to. Then it could be, okay, your identity is red. Which school do you want to join to develop? Well, if I want to go Prismari with art and expression and innovation and intuitive expression, I'll go with Prismari, which is red and blue. If instead I wanted to, I don't know, I don't understand the red of Lorehold offhand, to be perfectly honest. Lorehold is like archaeology and research and study. I think the red shows up in understanding the power of the past artifacts. It's all about discovering artifacts. So I think the best way to go with that is to assume that Arcavios originally had a strong white-red identity. So there's a lot of things that can be exhumed and explored in lost temples and ruins and discovered artifacts that would then naturally have a white and red alignment. So I think saying that Arcavios, the world where Strixhaven is located, where Lorehold then goes out into the world and discovers lost mysteries of Arcavios, having Arcavios itself have a red identity, I think would help make Lorehold make more sense. White for the knowledge and exploration, and categorization and unearthing and discovering. I think that can have a white flavor of gaining knowledge. Blue identity is very much gaining knowledge, but I think from a white perspective, it would be about, like, understanding the society, getting into, like, the structure of the language of what was on Arcavios in the past. I think that is a flimsy enough excuse about how white might feel about preserving information, that that you could see Lorehold slipping into that space. So it's not. I'm not a huge fan of Strixhaven's translations of the color dualities. I'm a huge Ravnica fan. Like, I love Boros, the righteous angels of basically fighting Valkyrie against demons. That makes a ton of sense to me as white and red. So I have a challenge with Strixhaven's expression sometimes, how they translate things, but I digress. That's the mentality. That's the idea of Strixhaven. Everyone has mana. That mana has a color identity that the points that the mana is devoted to. That becomes the magic that is kind of like your alignment, how you express yourself, personality-wise. If I'm a red-blue character, and I myself personally as Phil, I think I'm kind of red-blue, where I'm innovating and creating new ideas with red, and then building them into systems and using those systems to create deeper lore and more ludonarrative mechanics that bond the narrative of the game to the mechanics of the game. And that is, I think, a blue sort of flavor of creating synergy like that. That feels blue to me. So like I would fit comfortably in the Prismari school, not so much about dance and kinetic energy, but more about philosophy and developing systems. In that sense, I could be akin to Quandrix, blue-green. So I think the blue system design that I personally am passionate about synchronizes well with Quandrix. But it's the innovation and development and the passion of artwork that I put into all my books. I think that keeps me in red as an expression instead of just the cold math of it. If I wasn't an artist first and a game designer second, I would probably fit into Quandrix more than Prismari. But I build books to create art for. Like, my books that I design is the channel I focus my artwork through. It gives me a sense of direction while still being in control. And it's not just random pieces, look at me. It's all the pieces that I illustrate go into a book that's building a visual narrative of what this book is about, whether it's maps, tokens, actual illustrations of scenes, environments, and stuff. All the artwork that I do drives towards you seeing the vision I have for this book that I'm creating. See how that works? So that's like why I'd be Prismari. So when you score a point, you go back to your base, all your temporary hit points drained. You can choose to score a point to keep your team from getting killed, or you could kill the enemy team so they can't stop you from scoring a point. Since the ball is treated as an item, enemy, or ally, if a goalie is set up in front of the goalpost and you try to throw the ball past the goalie, it now becomes an opportunity attack for provoking an OA by leaving my area as a creature. I can then catch the ball as a reaction. And now I have the ball, and I can throw the ball to whoever I want or run with it myself towards the enemy goal. So if there's somebody between you and the goalpost, you're going to want to switch to melee or outmaneuver the goalie so that they can't do an opportunity attack against the ball as you're striking the goal. So there's a lot of fun 5e combat grid mechanics that come into play. Each square is 5 feet. So it takes about 3 rounds to get from where you are to pick up a ball and to get to the other person's goal. 3 rounds of basically movement, dash, movement, pick up the ball, movement, making an attack. So you can then obviously a rogue can go farther, faster, and if you can get an advantage on your attack roll against the goalpost, you can use your sneak attack damage to ramp up the amount of damage that you deal. Because me as a monk goalie, I can treat the goalpost as an item, ally, or enemy depending on what I need to do. It can't move. It's immune to all the stuff that objects would be, but I can treat it as an ally. So like I can use defender feat, or in the revisions that we made to the martial power system with the monk, you can use deflect attack if you're targeted or an ally within melee reach of you is targeted. So I could catch an arrow aimed at you, I could save you from being hit by an arrow, and if I can reduce the damage down to 0, I now hold the arrow. So if you make an attack with the ball and I am a monk goalie, and I have chosen the goal to be an ally, I can use deflect attack with the ball. And if I can reduce the damage down to 0, considering that normally the damage is going to be 6 unless you have something that'll ramp up the damage, like sneak attack, a paladin smite spell, maybe some of the various strike powers that are in the martial power system. True Strike would ramp up the damage on it as well. So if you can ramp up the damage to outpace the damage reduction that the monk has with deflect attack, then you can overwhelm the monk's defenses and get through. I am particularly going to build a warrior of the mystic arts because I don't get access to it yet because I'm only a half caster, but we're 7th level right now. When this guy gets to 9th level, I'll be able to cast Warding Bond on the goalpost and do all my monk shit. So I can have Warding Bond on the goalpost, so when you hit it, half of the damage transfers to me. I could also give it temporary hit points, so you have to remove all the temporary hit points before you can actually deal damage to the goalpost. If I can't deal damage to the goalpost, I can't score a point. So even though I hit the goalpost, if I have a Twilight Cleric stacking 25 temporary hit points every round onto the goalpost, I have to get through those 25 hit points. So and the only thing I can attack the goalpost with is the ball. So if we have a Twilight Cleric as a goalie, it'd be a pretty good idea for us to have a paladin on our team, so I can take the ball and smite the goalpost, so that I can break through the temporary hit points, so then I can use my second attack to actually score a point. So I have to get through like a Twilight Cleric, temporary hit points, Warding Bond to reduce the damage that it takes to half. So we reduce the damage down to half, and now it has to whittle through the Twilight Cleric's hit points. So that would, a Twilight Cleric would naturally fit inside of Witherbloom and Silver Quill, because the Twilight's like black energy, darkness, as it were. Actually, Twilight being the edge of light and darkness, and light identified with white magic and darkness identified with black, Silver Quill would be perfect for a Twilight Cleric. That would be super cool, using your white and black mana to balance out how you're casting your spells or how you're depicting them in the space between light and darkness. That would be super freaking cool. I would love that. But okay, so that's all the mechanics that we need. That's basically how Mage Tower works. It's pretty basic. And if it's a 1 hour long match, then you basically, while we're in character, the clock is ticking in real time. So in real time, we have 1 hour to finish a match. So the more proficient you are with character and making decisions, the more actions everybody gets to take on the clock. Stalling, like filibustering and stalling the clock on purpose, is bad etiquette. It's not illegal. Like if there's only like 10 seconds left and no one's near a goal, then just the clock's gonna run out, whatever. But you have an hour, 30 minutes, you get a short rest, and then at the end of an hour, whoever has the highest score, that's the winner. And if it's a tie, you go into overtime. The first person to break the tie in overtime wins the match. So, and if you go into overtime, you don't get your long rest, and you don't get a short rest. You're just stuck with what you've got until the game actually ends. So that's the rules of Mage Tower in a nutshell. Typically in a 1 hour match, we can score, we've seen up to 5 points scored in a 1 hour long match with 2v2, where there's only 4 characters on the board. And in both of in that instance, it was 2 players versus me as a DM. I ran 2 characters. So I'm anticipating a 2v2 match today. So I'm going to build a 7th level Prismari Monk Warrior of the Mystic Arts from this week's subclass Ultima Unearthed Arcana Mystic subclasses. And we'll also upgrade our... I want to... this was the Quandrix Echidnite that I built. But instead, I want to play... we'll go with Team Prismari. So I have a 6th level Prismari Barbarian Berserker already built using the martial power system. So once we get our once we get our Warrior of the Mystic Arts 7th level built, we'll then go back and we'll upgrade our Prisari Barbarian from level 6 to level 7. And that'll be the team that I use. So because the Barbarian is pure martial and doesn't have access to spells, I want to have a caster. And in this system, the Forsaken Monk, the way that the martial power system works is it's short rest. So everyone uses basically the monk's focus points, 1 per level. A 7th level character is going to have 7 mana on a short rest. The monk has the 1-minute ritual that you can perform to regain all of your mana, but I won't be able to use that because I won't have 10 rounds to do nothing. So I won't have access to that ability. So at the 30-minute mark, I'll get my short rest and get all my mana back. The normal progression for barbarians, this system applies to barbarians, fighters, monks, rogues, but paladins, rangers, artificers, and warlocks can also use it. So you can either go with a pure half-casting paladin, ranger, and artificer, where you don't use martial powers, where your mana, you get long rest mana, which means you get a lot of mana, and then you get it back on a long rest. Or you can go with the martial power system, where you can choose powers or spells when you prepare. You can choose either one of them, and but you're going to work on short rest mana. So you have a very small amount of mana per short rest, but you also have access to all of the options for martial powers, which includes preparing feats. So like if I were to prepare Polearm Master at 5th level, 2nd rank powers, okay, hold on. We're half casters. So all these guys operate as though they're half casters. 1st level, level 1, 5th level, 2nd rank powers or 2nd level spells, 3rd level at 9th level, etc. 17th level, 5th level / 5th rank. And then you have your prepared powers, and this is the number of powers. Prepared powers includes any weapon masteries, fighting styles, or actual mana powers that you want to acquire, or spells. So if you want to play a spell-less ranger, you could instead use the martial power system, and instead of preparing spells to spend mana on, you instead just pick up a bunch of feats and operate as a pure martial character if you want to. So you get 4 at 1st level, and you can swap these on whenever you take a long rest. You can swap powers, so your character evolves quickly to adapt to the actual adventure around you. So you have a very wide breadth of options available to you to close the gap between martials and spellcasters. Spellcasters are still more useful with utility, but because they are useful with utility and all characters have mana, the full casters, the extra pile of mana that they get over the martials, can be devoted to utility magic, teleportation, flight, pass through wall, whatever it is that you need to do, like, contact other plane, whatever it is you're going to do with your magic, you can do with your magic. Everyone has access to mana for combat stuff, and in a game like D&D that is like primarily focused on combat, this adds a ton of tactical depth to your game. When you spend a point of mana with martial powers, you're typically going to either deal extra damage or modify a d20 test. And when you spend that mana, you use the power die equal to your rank. So at 17th level, you're rolling a d10. At 9th level, it's a d8. At 1st level, it's a d6. So like at 5th level, if I spent 2 mana to deal extra damage on an attack, I would roll 2 d6s. But at 9th level, I can spend up 3 mana to deal 3d8 damage. A paladin does more damage this way than anyone else. They get extra dice for free when they spend mana to deal damage. That's how the paladin is the best smiter in the game. The monk doesn't use this range of power dice. The monk ends up with a d12 at 17th level, 6, 8, 10, 12. So at 17th level, the monk will be using a d12. So although the monk can't deal smite damage like a paladin can, with what mana I can spend to deal extra damage, I'll at 17th level roll a d12, not a d10. So in that sense, the monk almost catches up to the amount of damage that a paladin can do, but not quite. But the monk is one of the best smiters in the game as well. One of, not the best, but it's second. The fighter and all of them, all of them have really good ways of being able to deal crushing damage when you want to spend mana to do it. But you can also spend mana on reactions, exploits that modify d20 tests, give you resistances, teleportation effects, mind reading, all sorts of cool mana shit that you can do as like spell-like abilities that isn't spellcasting. So that's the basic mechanics of how the class works, and it's a half-casting system. So all of the Mystic art characters, all these third casters, the Eldritch Knight, the Arcane Trickster, and now the Mystic, the Warrior of Mystic Arts, in this system, they become basically half casters. So we can have up to 5th level spells at 17th level. We get 1st level, 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level, 5th level at the same rate as Rangers and Paladins and Artificers. Paladins, Artificers, and Rangers use their half casting like usual and then have access to martial powers. All the martial characters have their half casting progression and get access to powers, but these hybrid subclasses, the fighter, the rogue, and the monk, if I want to get access to spell casting like Rangers and Paladins do, we can take one of these casting subclasses, Eldritch Knight, Arcane Trickster, and now Warrior of Mystic Arts. With this system, we can choose Arcane, Divine, or Primal Druidic Magic. So Wizard, Cleric, Druid spell lists. We'll decide which spell list we want our monk to have. At 3rd level, we can choose 2 cantrips or 1st level spells. Take your pick, but I only get 2 between the 2 of them. At 5th level, we're 7th level, so at 5th level, I get 2 more spells that could be up to 2nd level. And I can switch one of my cantrips in 1st levels. Every time I gain, like at 4th level, I can switch one of these. At 5th level, I get 2 2nd level spells, and I can switch 1 cantrip or a 1st level spell to be anything else up to 2nd level within the discipline of magic that we're using. So that's my 3rd level ability. We don't have to worry about converting spell slots into spell points because it's all just mana that we're using. Spell casting focus. We still have material and somatic. We still have somatic and verbal components, but our training as a monk acts as our spell casting focus. So as long as the spell that we cast, as long as it doesn't require an item that has a gold piece of value listed in the book or isn't destroyed by the spell, if it's just normal component type stuff, we don't need spell components at all. But we still need to be able to use somatic components and verbal components. And then at 6th level, once per round, when you take the attack action, you can forgo up to 1 attack to instead cast a Mystic Arts cantrip with a casting time of 1 action. So, like, I could take, if I take the Wizard schools, the way of the Wizard, then I could say get True Strike. If I go the way of the Druid, I could get Thorn Whip. If I go the way of the Cleric, I could get Guidance or whatever I want. And I won't have access to Centered Focus and higher level spells until beyond that. So War Magic and spell casting. So my spell casting. So as a 7th level monk, just normal, I'll have powers. I'll have 9 powers. And then I'll also have 4 spells, which could be any combination of cantrips, 1st or 2nd level spells. So okay, let's start building. Let's see. Here's our standard array of 15, 14, 13, 12, 10. We'll just start walking through building a monk. And then when we get to the subclass, we'll start adding in the subclass stuff. So we have everything up to evasion. That's fantastic. So name is Monk Goalie. And college is going to be Prismari. Specialized species and class, we'll just go human, monk, mystic, arts. Levels is 7. Here's my stat array. Okay, so the way that channeling works is I can use channeling as strength, dexterity, or wisdom. And the spells that I cast will be either could be any one of those as well. So if I'm casting whether it's wizard, druid, or cleric magic, I think what we want to do is make sure that that becomes your casting stat. So in this case, druid and cleric would be my natural inclination as a monk, because wisdom is my jam. So we're gonna make wisdom my top stat. So we'll start with a 15 in wisdom, and we'll make dexterity my second best stat. Since I'm a human, I get a +2/+1 of anything that I want. So I'm going to push dexterity to 16 and push wisdom to 16. And then we'll go with, let's say, 13 in strength, 12 in constitution, 10 and 8. Pretty garbage array. And then we're 7th level, so we gain 1 bonus feat that we're going to use for gaining stats at 4th level, and if we need any feats, we'll just prepare them. So we're going to take our wisdom to 18 with our 4th level feat. Let's go down here to feat equals stat. We'll go 4th level equals wisdom +2. My armor class is going to be my wisdom bonus plus my dexterity bonus +10. So that's going to be 5 + 3 equals armor class of 18. My movement speed at this level, 7th level, is going to be 45. Hit points is going to start at 8 as a monk, +1. So I get 9 per level at 1st level. And then if I just go with averages at 4.5 times 6 levels equals 28 + 6 is 34. +9 is 43. So we'll have 43 hit points. Our mana as a 7th level monk is going to be 7. The save DCs against our channeling powers and stuff, since I'm using wisdom, is going to be 8 plus proficiency, which is +3. 8 + 3 is 11, plus my stat is 11 and 16. So the DC for my stuff is 16 / +8. Not bad for a fucking monk. Pretty happy with that. So all my combat stuff is off of wisdom, and I'm going to choose either cleric or druid. I think I'll probably go cleric for the lulz. We'll see how that pans out. Our attacks is unarmed attacks. At level 7, we're sporting a D8. Unarmed attacks is going to be +8 to hit, dealing 1d8 + 5 damage. And with our unarmed attacks, you can use strength, dexterity, or wisdom modifiers for attack and damage rolls with monk weapons. You can roll a d6 in place of the normal damage type, but we're already on a d8. Whenever you hit with an unarmed attack, you can choose to deal bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, depending on what kind of a fist or weapon we use. Unarmed and natural weapon attacks are considered to be weapons worth 1+ silver pieces for use with spells, feats. Like I could use unarmed attacks to shadow, Cloud of Daggers. For instance, I think you have to have a weapon. Well, we're considered to have a weapon. So if I cast Cloud of Daggers, I could basically do a key strike with my Cloud of Daggers. That's how that magic would work. I always have the grapple and topple masteries, so I can always trip and grab people. And I can use a bonus action to make an attack with a monk weapon. Let's see. Skills, speed, spells, and powers is going to be grapple mastery, topple mastery. I'll probably want the push mastery to get the. Actually, I'll probably take Thundering Strike. Here, I'll show you what Thundering Strike is real quick. Come on, buddy. Get up there. All right, strike powers. I'm 7th level, so I can channel up to 2nd level, 2nd rank, or I can channel 2 mana. So a 1st rank power can be up channeled, the second up to 5. But if it's a second rank power, I have to spend 2 mana on it. And everything gets modified by how much mana I spend. So in the strike powers, the way that strike powers works is when I hit you with an attack, like 2014 Paladins, when I hit you with an attack, I can spend mana to deal extra damage, and depending on what power I use, it has a kicker effect. Kind of like what the bonus spells used to be, but you can always use these things on hits. So let's go to strike powers, and Thundering Strike is something I'm definitely going to take because it gives you movement. And I'll also probably take Repositioning Strike. So Thundering Strike, it's a first rank power, so I can spend a minimum of 1 mana, dealing extra D8 at 7th level as a monk, or I can spend up to 2 mana as a monk, dealing 2d8 extra damage with my attack. Plus, my weapon deals thunder damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana expended this way. A creature is pushed directly away from you up to 10 feet for each point of mana expended. So if I only spend 1 mana, it'll deal an extra d8 and push the target 10 feet. If I spend 2 mana, it'll do 2d8 damage, extra thunder damage, and it'll push the creature 20 feet away, which I could use, like I could hit the ball, even though the ball won't take any damage because it's an Odalix Resilient Sphere. I could hit the ball and punt it 20 feet and away from me. So if I wanted to like kick the ball to somebody, I could do it that way. Or I could just pick up the ball and throw it for my to pass through my allies' area opportunity attack and grab it on the way by. But it could be intercepted. An enemy could try to intercept the ball through their opportunity attack, and if you're both making the opportunity attack at the same time, then whoever rolls the highest attack roll is going to be the one that grabs the ball. Let's see. Thundering Strike. Yeah, so that's how Thundering Strike works. Repositioning Strike is your weapon deals your weapon damaging. It doesn't deal any specific type of damage, just the normal damage that you deal, but it increases it by 1 power die per mana channeled. At 7th level, I can channel up to 2 mana. And you can move 5 feet per mana channeled as part of the attack. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So if I hit with a Repositioning Strike, I can then move 10 feet without provoking an opportunity attack. I can use these strikes during reactions as opportunity attacks if I spend the mana to do so. So if you trigger an opportunity attack for me by moving through my area, and then I use Repositioning Strike, I could hit you as you pass through, and then I can move 10 feet towards you with 2 mana to get back into range of you. And as if they're out of, I don't get multiple opportunity attacks, but assuming that, like, say they ended their movement, I could stay within reach of them. So when they end their movement, I'm still within reach, so I can keep attacking them because I use Repositioning Strike to automatically move me where I wanted to go. I can move in any direction that I want, so it's super fun. So that's a really, really useful power. So Thundering Strike, and we'll go with Repositioning Strike. I get these 2 for free. Monk. And Monk. And I have, at 7th level, I have, what? 9 total? So I've spent 2 already. Let's keep going through the character class. We have Unarmed Defense already. Let's just add that in as a feature. Martial Arts. Channeling. Using Wisdom. Martial Arts, Unarmed Defense. Uncanny Metabolism doesn't matter in Strixhaven matches because it's that 1 minute long ritual. Focused Arts. Now we'll go like this. 1, 1, 2. deflect attack. And again, we've modified it when a weapon attack hits you or an ally within reach of your melee weapon. As a reaction, you can reduce the amount of damage dealt by an amount equal to the result of 1 power die plus channeling ability modifier plus monk level. So this will be 8 plus 5 plus 7. D8 plus 5. Plus 12. D8 plus 12. Deflect attack equals reaction. Reduces damage to self or ally. D8 plus 12. If damage is reduced to 0, I can spend 1 mana to redirect the attack. The new target makes a necessary saving throw against your channeling DC. If they fail, they take the damage. They take an amount of damage dealt by the deflected attack. Yeah, if they fail, they take the amount of damage dealt by the deflected attack. Love that. Great feature. Monk subclass. Mystic Arts. 4 feet. Whiz plus 2. 4 slow fall. What's my fall? Oh, wait. That's not how it works. It's not a specific distance anymore. That's right. You take a reaction, fall, to reduce any damage to fall equal to 5 times your monk level. Reaction equals minus 35 damage to fall. Extra attack. 5 stunning strike. Once per turn, when you hit with a monk weapon, instead of channeling a strike power, not including, but instead, it's basically like a unique strike power that you can only use once per round. You expend 1 mana to force the target to make a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the start of your next turn. You can use Stunning Strike in combination with any weapon mastery you know, regardless of whether. So I know Grappling, I know Topple, and I know those are the only 2 masteries I have right now. But I can use those against the target, in addition to attempting a stun. So I could grapple them and fail the stun. I could topple them but fail the stun. Or I could succeed in stunning them and topple them. Succeed and grapple them. Very useful. Powered attacks, deals force damage. Level 6 is whirlwind attack. As a magic action, so instead of making my attack action, but I can still use Flurry of Blows. As a magic action, you can attack enemies around you that you can see in a blur of motion. The whirlwind attack table below shows how many targets you can attack and how far from you each of these targets can be. Make a separate melee weapon attack against each target with a monk weapon, including your honor attacks. Each target hit takes damage equal to the result of rolling 1 power die for each point of mana expended this way, up to a max channel limit gained as a monk, which is I have to spend at least 1 mana. I can spend up to 2. So whirlwind attack equals at 6th level, I can have 2 targets, 1d8 per mana, 2 targets 15 feet away from each other. 1 point, 1 mana equals teleport to 1 target. Thank you, Timely Time, for keeping me on time. Where are we at on time? 8 o'clock. I've got 45 minutes left, so we'll be fine. To one of the targets. So I can then, after I make my attack, I can spend an additional point. As the max ends, he's 70%. After completing the whirlwind attack, you can teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of any target you attacked. And then level 7 is evasion. Okay, so that's my kit there as a monk. We have our stats already figured out, so that's going to be +1, +3, +1, 0, +5, -1. And I have strength and dexterity saving throws, so that'll be +4. This will be +7. Thank you. No. +6. Derp. +1. Nothing for intelligence. +5. And still -1 for charisma. There. That's my stat line there. That's all my stats. I have my combat already in place. Skills. Let's take acrobatics. Athletics. And, I don't know, sleight of hand. Plus whatever we get from Prismari. So let's go check out Prismari. So here's the Prismari school translated. Prismari is blue and red. So dexterity, charisma, or choose 2. Yeah, those are the ability bonuses that we got. Dexterity +2. We went with the human method of +2, +1. Skill proficiencies, acrobatics, and performance. That makes sense. And so I don't know, survival. I think that's one of the options. One musical instrument, a type of artisan tools. Fine. Harmonica. And, okay, so let's see. Origin feat. Choose one. So we get a feat of our choice. Let's make it alert. Alert. Origin feat. You add your proficiency bonus to your roll. Alert equals +3 to initiative. Total +8. And I can swap my initiative with my ally if I choose. Super useful feat to take for Mage Tower. Every time we start a new point, we roll initiative to see who goes first, but the ball always goes first. So we picked up a feat of our choice, and now I automatically get 3 college credits for the Prismari College, which gives me benefits like Find Familiar, gives me access to different Bastion facilities in the college. But most importantly, right now, I'm interested in bonus powers. So I happened to take the Mystic Arts subclass for the new Mystic Arts new subclass that came out in the Unearthed Arcana this week, which means I have access to spellcasting now. But if I didn't take that subclass, I would only have access as a monk. I would only have access to channeling powers. So here's the different powers that I would have access to. And here's the spells I would get access to. And instead of front-loading spells for full casters, I've redesigned the colleges of Strixhaven to stretch them out over 17 levels. So level 1 to 17, you get 9 different things. like Prismatic Wall as a 9th level spell that you get, Sunburst as an 8th level spell that you get access to, Prismatic Spray as a 7th level spell, Otto's Irresistible Dance. These are all, like, if I'm a full caster, these are things I can do. As a half caster, of the Mystic Arts half caster that I am, I would only be able to get access to spells up to my level. So at 3rd level, I do have access to 1st level spells, so I could choose either Chromatic Orb or I could choose Overrun. Overrun is a power that deals damage when you move through. While you move, you deal damage to people through whomever space that you move. So I'm going to take, I think Overrun's going to be more useful. Prismari, Overrun, it is Exploit 1. That's at 1st level. So I'm sorry, at 1st level, I only have access to Overrun because I'm not a full caster. At 3rd level, when I become a Mystic Arts, I could choose either Flaming Sphere or Rogue Stance. Rogue Stance gives you uncanny cunning actions, the rogue's cunning actions. It's something I have to spend mana on and maintain concentration, or I have to sustain it, and I can only sustain up to a second rank power. Rogue Stance is only a 1st rank power, so it takes 1 mana to turn on. And at 3rd level, I only have access to 1st rank, or only 1 mana. So if I turn this on, that's the only sustained power I can use, but I don't have to maintain concentration on it. As a monk, I don't need Rogue Stance, so I'm going to take Flaming Sphere instead. And Flaming Sphere would normally be a red spell, but here, let me peel open the list of spells per character class. So if you buy the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rule bundle that I showed down below in my description, this is in the download assets that you get when you buy the bundle. So we can go look at, like, for example, we can look at Flaming Sphere. Oh crap! Flaming Sphere is 2nd level, so I can't get access to it yet because I only currently have access to 1st level spells as a half caster. So I would by default get Rogue Stance. Womp womp. That's a non-bo. What I could do is at 5th level, when I get access to 2nd level spells, I could take Flaming Sphere or Abundant Step. Either one. I could choose either one of them. I think it would be smart to allow us to swap these around between the two if you have the option. So like I would initially have to have Rogue Stance at 3rd level, but by 5th level, when I get access to 2nd level spells, I could swap Rogue Stance for Flaming Sphere. Let's allow that. Let's allow that swap. And then I could pick up, yeah, we can keep Abundant Step. Abundant Step lets me, if I spend mana, I can double my movement that round. Or triple it, or quadruple it, and gain flight if I wanted to. Let's go look at it real quick. That's right, 2nd rank. We'd have to get access to that at Abundant Step is 5th level. Yeah, that's when we'd have access to it. 3rd, and then became 5th, and then Abundant Step at, there we go, Abundant Step. Spell, exploit 1, exploit 2. So what does Abundant Step do? You channel this exploit as part of a move action. You gain a fly speed equal to your walking speed until the end of your turn. If you do not end your turn on a surface or liquid that can support you, you fall as normal. So it's 2 points to gain flight for a round. If I spend an extra point, I can double my flight speed. So I would have a 90-foot flight speed for 3 mana for 1 round. So if I got the ball, I could fly over to the other goal and potentially score a point. If I spend an extra 3 points, which I can't do at 5th level, at 9th level I can spend 3 mana. So 2 points to turn on, and then if I spend 3 points, I can triple my speed. At 5 points, I can quadruple my speed. So super useful. Precise attack. When you make an attack against a target with less than full cover, you can ignore the benefits of cover and roll a number of power dice equal to the amount of mana spent this way, adding the highest roll to your attack result. That's pretty useful, but the armor class is only 10, and I'm pretty. You can't have full cover anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. I don't need to spend that. But we've gotten our Prismari abilities in place. Now we have Flaming Sphere. When it's a bonus power gained from a background or a subclass, you can use any color mana that you want to cast that spell. If you're preparing the spell as a normally prepared spell that can swap, you have to pay attention to what color it is when you cast it. It's like Flaming Sphere is a red spell. If I, as a Prismari character, I already have blue and red mana, but if I was like, say, Silver Quill, and I had access to Burning Hand, Flaming Spear as a bonus spell somehow, I would then be able to use I'd be able to use Flaming Spear as a white or a black spell. It'd be my choice. As it is right now, it's normally red. As Prismari, I can use red or blue mana to cast Flaming Sphere. So it's basically any mana that I have, I can cast it with. Because it's a bonus spell, so it's universal. The bonus spells that I'm going to get from my my Mystic Art subclass, since they're bonus spells, they could technically be any color that I want. Super useful. Let's see. 1, 2. Let's go like this. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then spells. 1, 2, 3, 4. Catapult. Cantrip. The catapult cantrip lets me target something up to 30-foot range. Attack, throw, ball, plus 8 to hit. Plus 5 damage. So that'll be one of the spells that I pick up, because Catapult's just freaking useful. And that's a universal spell that's available to all the classes. Now let's go look at Cleric real quick to see what Cleric spells are in here that we might think are cool. Cleric. Let's see if there's spells that we like. Bless, Bang, Command, Create, Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds isn't bad to have. We've had to use, if you're on the ropes defensively, Cure Wounds is super useful. It's normally a green spell or white spell, but again, it's a bonus spell, so we can use any color that we want. I don't know, man. Guiding Bolt's pretty useful. It deals a lot of damage for cheap. (120-foot range), 46 damage. Advantage, next, attack. That's a really useful spell.
Oh, Sanctuary. Oh my god. We can cast Sanctuary on the goalpost. That's awesome. And the DC is what, 16?
Let's look up Sanctuary really quick. Holy shit, that's a great idea.
Unless it has a range of self. Hold on. I think we can target other characters
Or other creatures.
range 30 foot. That's a bonus action to cast. You ward a creature within range until the spell ends. Any creature who attacks the warded creature with an attack roll. It's not even concentration. Oh my god. Wisdom saving throw. Whiz or can't attack. 1 minute. No concentration. Holy shit. Have to make a wisdom saving throw and either choose a new target or lose the attack or spell. The spell doesn't protect the warded creature from area of effect. The spell ends if the warded creature makes an attack roll, casts a spell, or deals damage,
Which the goalpost can't. So we can cast Sanctuary on the goalpost. Holy shit, that's a really good spell. Wow. Okay. Spells. Cleric. Holy Hannah, that's awesome. Okay, that's in place. Now all we have to do is pick some powers. Let's see, what's some cool powers we can pick? Let's go back to our list of powers. Shit, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Jesus. Where's our list? Thank you. Up to second rank. Let's see.
When you take the hide action, you can do so even if you don't have any cover or to hide behind.
And the minimum result of your stealth check is 15, even if your roll is lower.
You can remain hidden this way even if you aren't behind an object that can conceal you until the beginning of your next turn. The hide condition ends if you attack, cast a spell, or channel a power. Hell yes. Vanish. Exploit 2. Hide without cover until start of next turn. Is it start of next turn? You can do so even if it doesn't. You can remain hidden this way even if you aren't hidden behind an object that can conceal you until the beginning of your next turn. There you go. Vanish. Hide without cover until start of next turn. That's really freaking useful. First strike. When you roll initiative, if an enemy is within attack range, okay, that won't be useful. Resilient save. When you make a saving throw to reduce damage, if the save succeeds, you take no damage or half if you fail. You decide to channel this power after you roll the save, but before you know if you succeeded. This works against like wisdom saves, charisma saves, constitution saves for taking damage. It's basically evasion for any saving throw that deals damage. Swift attunement, that's not going to be useful. Assassin, that's too high of a rank. Bonus actions, let's go with coordinated dash. You can empower one ally per mana expended this way that can see or hear you to use their reaction to move up half their speed without provoking opportunity attacks. Let's go with coordinated dash. 60-foot reach, one ally, 1 mana equals ally move. Half speed, no OA. That's useful. Let's see. Distract. Ooh, flatten. Choose a creature that you can see standing on a surface that can support its weight up to size large. It takes 1 power die of force damage per mana expended this way and is knocked prone. If I spend 3 mana, the target can be huge. Let's take flatten. That's going to be maneuver 1, which I can use either as a magic action or a bonus action. Deal 1d8 per mana. Target, large, prone. Basically, this is just a way to reduce people's movement by knocking them prone at a distance. I can affect the target up to 60 feet away this way. All powers can affect things up to 60 feet away unless it says otherwise. I've got 20 minutes left, and I've got 4 powers to go. Let's see what else is here. You can target a creature that you can see to make an intelligence saving throw. If it fails, it can't take reactions until the end of its next turn. And during its next turn, it can only take an action or a bonus action, but not both. Creatures immune to charm, roll with advantage. Lethargy is a really great debuff against targets. Lethargy, it's maneuver 2, 60 foot. Target DC 16 int or no reactions, and only action, bonus action. What else? I don't get access to 3rd rank powers yet. Reactions. Bait and switch. When a creature within 5 feet of you is hit with an attack roll, you can spend 1 mana to switch places with the creature, and you can choose to become the target of the attack. Switching places this way doesn't count as movement or provoke opportunity attack. So we'll take bait and switch, which is a 1st rank reaction. Target gains a bonus armor class against the attack equal to your proficiency modifier. +3 AC. I am the target, not the goal. And kicker, I can spend 1 mana equals, if I spend 1 mana, I can, no reaction required. So it's 1 point to turn on, to do bait and switch, but if I don't want to use my reaction to bait and switch, I can spend a 2nd point of mana. Super useful. Kicker effect. Feint as a reaction to when you miss an attack roll. You can roll again, potentially turning the miss into a hit. When you miss, let's change that to as a reaction to when you miss a melee attack roll. That's the only way that this thing makes sense to me. Inspired attack. I can give bonuses to my allies. As a reaction, I can spend a kicker cost to not make it a reaction. So let's do, nah, that's not gonna make sense. Inspired ward, that's a saving throw bonus. Interpose, as a reaction to when an ally within reach of your melee attack takes damage from a source you can see. You can take any portion of that damage for the target and gain resistance to it. So I can take all of the damage with Interpose. Interpose is reaction 1 equals take damage instead of goal while in reach. Kicker 1 equals no reaction required. Super great goalie power. Let's see. Countering attack. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack uses the magic action or casts a spell, make a weapon attack. If it hits, the target takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against your channeling DC or half the damage dealt, whichever is greater. If the save fails, the action is disrupted as though affected by counterspell. Countering attack. Reaction. Hit takes damage and D16 plus or countered. There.
Okay, that's my character. Freaking good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and hit save there for the Prismari Monk. We still have a few minutes of time, so let me go here into the Barbarian. He's now 7th level, so we're going to gain 8.5 hit points. So it's going to take us to 60 hit points. Our mana increases to 7. What does the Barbarian get? Does Barbarian even get anything at 7th level? I honestly don't even know. All the way up. Feral Instinct. You have advantage on initiative rolls. Nice. Feral Instinct equals advantage on saves, on initiative. Holy shit, that's so good. And my initiative bonus, well, my initiative bonus is only +1. And we get an extra power. Oh, Instinctive Pounce. As part of a bonus action, when you take the rage action, you can move up to half your speed. Nice. Instinctive Pounce. Love that. When rage, move half speed. Oh my god. That's so good. Oh my god, that is so good for just rushing the ball. That is so good. And we get an extra power at 7th level. So what's the next power that we want to take? We have Rally, Disarming Strike. Oh yeah, Disarming Strike is a great power to have. Repositioning Strike, Ranged Assault, form a hand axe to attack with. Abundant Step, can fly 50 feet. Rogue Stance, Overrun, Retaliate. Saving Grace is a reaction to reroll a saving throw. Disarming Strike knocks a ball out of somebody's hand. Rally gives temporary hit points to yourself and an ally, which could beat the goalpost. Oh no, I think Rally actually heals. Is it temporary hit? No, it should be temporary hit points. Let's verify. Rally. Rally. You and one ally that you see gains a number of temporary hit points equal to the total of 1 power die rolled for each point of mana expended this way. Rally is super, so I could use Rally on the goalpost to give it temporary hit points and give myself temporary hit points as well. Let's see. Curse of Hesitation. As a reaction to when a creature you can see begins its turn, roll a number of power dice equal to the mana expended this way and reduce its initiative count by the total rolled, delaying its turn until the lower initiative count. I'll avoid that one for now. It's a neat idea, but I'm going to avoid it. Moving target as a reaction. Oh, moving target is super useful. Moving target. There we go. Reaction to moving target equals OA even if normally doesn't. So basically, like, if you use a movement that would normally, like if you use the disengage action to move, normally you wouldn't provoke an opportunity attack. This allows you to override that. If I spend 2 mana, I can hit you with an opportunity attack, even though I normally wouldn't be able to do so. When a creature you can see moves into or within the reach of your melee weapon, you can make a weapon attack even if the target is using the disengage. Hold on, let's do it this way. Even if the target would not
trigger an opportunity attack. Rolling 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest result to the attack roll. As a reaction, to when a creature you can see moves into or within the reach of your melee weapon, you can make an opportunity attack. I wanted to reword that way specifically so you can use OA trigger effects, even if the target would not trigger an opportunity attack. Would not. Even if the target's movement doesn't provoke an opportunity attack. Rolling 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest result to the attack roll. I'm going to nix that. We don't need to have the kicker effect in there, because that by itself is pretty goddamn good. Normally provoke an opportunity attack. Perfect. There we go. So moving target is what we acquired. That's the only change that we need to make to Barbarian. This is the Berserker Barbarian. So just to show off the Berserker here real quick before our session ends. The Berserker Barbarian, we get here's the bonus powers. We get fast, which lets us sustain a power to move 10 feet faster per mana sustained. And at 5th level, we can sustain 2 mana. So if I turn on 2 mana, that's the only thing I can sustain, but it would be an extra 20 feet of movement. Bonus attack as a maneuver, basically as a bonus action, I can use bonus attack for 1 point. The monk gets that for free. Barbarian normally doesn't. Overrun for 1 point, deal damage when you run through people. We need to replace this with something else. Intimidating strike. Yeah, we don't have those yet. Frenzied attack. If you hit with a reckless attack while your rage is active, you deal 1 extra power die of damage. This damage doesn't count towards your max channel limit. So I basically get an extra d6 damage every time I hit while I'm frenzying. Mindless rage at 6th level, you're immune to charmed and frightened conditions. So if somebody were to try to beguile me or lethargy me, since I'm immune to charm, I'd gain an advantage on my saving throw. And that's all I get access to. But at 10th level, when your rage is active, you expend 2 barbarian hit dice to channel the retaliate power without using a reaction. When you do so, I automatically regain 1d12 hit points. Retaliate, again, the retaliate power is if somebody targets me with an attack, I can hit them with an attack. That's as a reaction. And then that normally costs 1 point of mana to use, but at 10th level, if I spend 2 hit dice, I don't have to spend any mana, and I can use retaliation, and I can immediately heal d12 hit points off of one of those dice. Intimidating presence. A barbarian can always use hit dice for mana. So at 7th level, I have 7 mana on a short rest, and I have 7 hit dice that I can expend as mana. And if I do, I don't get the hit points back from it, but it counts as mana. With this retaliate power, I spend 2 hit dice. I get the healing for 1, and then the other one I can use retaliation for free. Yeah, there you go. Fun stuff. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes here. I'm going to be on my Discord server in about a half hour at 9 a.m. here on in Pacific Standard Time -8 UTC here in Seattle. If you thought this stuff was cool, we'll be doing more. We'll be translating more of the Unearthed Arcana subclasses on Monday. I'm going to have a special lunchtime stream. I have that day off, so I'm going to take a special lunchtime stream before I go to the dentist and go through the rest of these mystic subclasses. And Monday morning we'll be on for doing Eberron art in the morning. I do artwork Monday through Fridays in the morning, and then Monday night I'll be on continuing to build Spelljammer asteroid communities using the Bastion campaign system for the Eberron Spelljammer Moon Orbit Bastion campaign that we're running with Mecha Kaiju Combat. So you can check that stuff out on Monday night if you're interested as well. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when I'm live in the future. Check out my books link down below. Be welcome to join my Discord server, my Patreon if you're interested. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot for being here. Cheers.